Good morning, everybody. It is Friday at 9:37, so I'm on live just a little bit early to bring you this week's Tunisian crochet stitch from the book. We are working our way through this book, Tunisian Crochet Basic and Texture Stitches, Volume 1 by Petra Tornak Zimmerman. And today we're doing this basket stitch right here. And you guys, hi Janet, it's kind of like the full stitch that we did last week, which I meant to pull my full stitch out. Let me pull that out real quick. And I'm liking having a box to put these in. So here's my full stitch, and it said to work looser. So this is what happens when you work nice and loose. See how much bigger this block is? So I figure I'll just save this for another time. Good morning, Mary. I hope you're resting. Apparently I haven't sewed the tails in yet, but I love this stitch so much where we would switch where we started each time. So you get this offset. So each row is back and forth. Well, we're going to do the same thing on here on this Tunisian basket stitch. And I meant to put my little gloves on that Scott got me because I'm surprised. They look kind of flimsy, but they really help. So I'm going to use them. So hang on just a sec. I'll put a link to these gloves in the description box. I just ordered them off Amazon. They're to keep your stressing your wrists. So they just give you a little bit of help. So let's learn this stitch real quick. Again, if you are having trouble remembering if you are going to do in the first space or the second space, I still suggest getting a piece of paper, and as you finish a row, write down what row it is. So like when you do number 1, write 1, the second row 2, because you have to think about this in odd and even numbers. So whatever you do on row 1, you're going to do on every odd row. Whatever you do on number 2, you're going to do on every even row. Okay? So what I did is just doing a sample because I've already completed my block, and I did that in Craft and Chat yesterday and then a little bit after. But it works up pretty quick. So this is the beginning chain, and then my just that base where you just go through and you pull up the loops. So now we got to get back to the other side so we can start the stitch. Let me see here. And I decided to use the variegated yarn because I find that sometimes it's easier to see where you got to go because you'll have a different color yarn. And I only did 8 stitches for this sample. So I'm just working off. All right, there we go. So we're at the beginning, right? Let me get some yarn pulled out because it's easier if you have some yarn pulled ahead of time. All right, so now we've got our 8 stitches ready for us. Now, row 1, you're going to work in the first space. So you'll see there's this here that your loops through, and then that first space, we're actually going to put our hook through the loop. Oops, don't want to lose that. Through the loop that runs, we're not working through the uprights. We're working through the top of it. What do they call this? In the upper bar. So the upper bars are the ones that go along the top of your stitches. If you look at this, you can see where I'm pulling the string up. It goes through a little loop right there. That's where we're going to insert our hook first. And we're just going to insert our hook like so. And then draw up a loop. And again, you're going through that upper bar on the front side of it. And then draw up a loop. And I have to kind of pull it straight so I can see that loop that I need. Are you seeing where I'm going? I hope you can see. All right, so on row 1 and all the odd ones, when you get to this last one, because we started in the first hole over here, we should have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to skip the last upper bar and just do our side stitch. So we have our 8 stitches on. And always, if you look at it from the side, look for the mountain. And you just go through those 2. Don't want to grab that tail because that's not what we need. All right, so then we're going to work our stitches back off. Good morning to everybody that's coming in. There's Kathy. Good morning. You're up early. All right, so I'm going to work back across. Some of this yarn that I got at thrift stores, it's been thrown around so long that the fibers, the different layers of it, I don't know what it's called. Lisa could tell me. It's a little tricky getting that one off that where you're working in that first space, but you get used to it. All right, so now we're going to do row 2. So we're not going, see where that little space is between the side and that first stitch? We're going to skip that up right there, that upper bar. And we're going to go in the second one and work all the way across. And we're working just in those upper bars. That little stitch that sticks out of the side at the top, that's the stitch you're going in. And this one is fairly easy. Again, be relaxed. What I'm finding more than anything with the Tunisian crochet is if you're tense and everything, it's going to curl like crazy on you. All right, so I am working in that last upper bar because this is the second row. And then I'll work in the little mountain on the side, which I see is there's one side of the mountain and then 2 sides, and pull through. And I should have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I do count every time I get to the end to make sure I have that, whatever my count is. On my block, it was 20. So now you're going to work back, but you're going to do an odd row. Odd, even, odd, even. So you'll, each time you start on the odd row, you're going to be in that very first space on that upper bar. And on the even rows, you're going to skip that very first space and go into the second one. So if you pull your piece, you can see this is the first space, second, and so on. So the loop that we basically just went through is the one you want to work in. Not the one at the side, but this one at the top. Whoops. It is tricky because that first, the hook, the loop that's on the hook wants to roll off. But once you get the row started, it's pretty easy. And if you give it a little tug, you'll see your space, you'll see the stitch you need to get into. And this is an odd row. So you're not going to work in every upper bar because you started sooner. You're going to leave that last one unworked when you get over here. Make sure I'm not going in the wrong space. Yeah, we got one more we got to work. And if you get over here and you can't really see it, count your stitches on your hook, and that'll tell you if you've gone far enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I know I'm just going into the side now. You want to keep that count. And you just repeat that. And you get this. I'm really loving this stitch. And this is what a full block looks like, you guys. Isn't that cool? And this is called the basket stitch. Any questions? I'm finding these last two. This is the Tunisian basket. And what did I do? Did I chunk that other one back in there? And the full stitch have been some of the easiest ones. This is the one we did last week. And then this is the one we're doing this week. And I kind of like shifting back and forth to get this interesting pattern. I just still think it's hilarious that I got so relaxed on this one that it's huge. I just went ahead and worked it till it was square. And if I have another one that works up, you know what? You could put two of these together and they'd be a nice trivet to just set down. Although I don't know. This is acrylic yarn. But maybe a mug rug. You could put a mug on that. No problem. These would be cute as mug rugs as well if you wanted to do these as gifts. I got to thinking about it. I'll answer in just a sec, Mary. What if you backed them and covered the back with fabric? These would make great coasters. Put cotton fabric on the back for absorption, and you could make Tunisian crocheted mug rugs. So let me see what Mary's asking. Becky, what stitch did we do that worked on back part of the stitch? It was the smooth stitch, and I tried that again, and it was this one, the smooth stitch. And I wrote rows shrink up tight, curls up real bad, ugh, hair ripper. That's what I wrote in my book. And I have tried this again. I'm about to just give up trying because you have to go through the back upright bar, and that is tricky. To create the smooth stitch, I'll read it again in case somebody else has some inputs. Insert the hook from the front around the back bar or right leg as shown in the right picture and crochet a Tunisian simple stitch. The edge of the crochet piece tends to slant to the right. For this reason, skip the first bar every third or fourth row and increase one stitch at the end of the same row. To make the increase, crochet a stitch in the back bar and in the front bar of the last stitch. Chain any number of stitches. I don't know if I'm going to even try that one again because, like I said, it's a hair ripper. And when I can make pretty blocks like this that don't drive me mad, I would rather produce these. We worked on back of one. I'm not sure. Let's see. The mirror stitch. I bet that's the one you're talking about. The mirror stitch is the opposite of the Tunisian simple stitch. The wrong side looks like Tunisian simple stitch. It is crocheted with Tunisian purl stitches in the back bars. First, bring the yarn in front as for Tunisian purl stitch. Insert the hook in the back bar as for Tunisian reverse stitch and pull up a loop. That might be the one you're talking about. Not on the bar. Well, there's this one. The grid stitch is to create an airy grid texture. Crochet using the Tunisian simple stitch in the back bump of the return row. Insert the hook from the front to pull up a loop. Chain any number of stitches. That was called the grid stitch. We are up to stitch number 16. So I took to labeling my blocks with a little piece of paper and a safety pin. And that's the only way I know where to look for them. I'm not sure, Mary. We'll have to work it out and see if I can figure out which one you're talking about. Oh, you're not going to like next week, Mary. It's a pearl. Pearl's grid. I'll see if I can work it out before then. And then we're going to, after that, we're going to do one that looks complicated, but we'll manage them one at a time. We'll manage them one at a time. So any questions on today's basket stitch? It's really easy. You're working odds and evens again, just like we did for the full stitch. So you end up with something that looks exactly like a basket. And I think it's very interesting on this variegated yarn. I'm looking at this, and it's like the chocolate color ends up as the loops or the bars every single time. And the variegation, if you look, is running between the rows. I find that interesting. So there's a little sample. There's my block. And I hope everybody enjoys it. And Mary's being brave and trying each one more than once. Whew. I might do that on the ones I really like later. And Kathy says she loves watching whatever I do, but she prefers regular crochet better. And I'm trying to. Yes, I know, Mary. You're welcome. And I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. The cats have all gone back to sleep. Shh, don't say anything. So I'm going to try to cut out my overalls. I cut the pattern out this morning, and as soon as I laid the fabric on the floor and was going to start pinning it, they all showed up. And it's great fun to have Mom's stuff on the floor, because I have to do it either on the floor or up on the dining room table. So I usually do it on the floor. That way the fabric can't stretch at all. What pattern am I using for my overalls? It's a McCall's. It's in my Friday sews. 95. No, it's not. It said S. So it's a Simplicity 9590 for the overalls. All right. I'm going to let you guys go now. I want to cut out everything I talked about in my Friday sews that went out at midnight last night. So if you hadn't seen that, you might want to watch it. And then I need to go to the grocery store. I want to go to Joann's and get the Simplicity patterns while they're $1.99. And that's all I have, unless there's questions about the stitch. And feel free to, go back, rewatch, slow down, speed up, whatever you need to do to learn the basket stitch. And yeah, I'll see you next week for the next stitch. Hopefully I can figure it out, or hopefully there'll be a video that somebody else has already done. Bye, guys.